What's up, everyone? How's everyone doing? It's a beautiful Monday. I unfortunately was been sick all weekend, but that's okay. Let's get into some of the major events that happened in crypto, as well as what the hell is going on with this dump. Is it over, or are we just getting started into having our 0.618 retrace on the Fibonacci? Now, we're going to look at a couple things today, like what is an evening star? And it's a reversal pattern that happened on Bitcoin, which I saw this last week. You know, the weekly charts tell us a lot of really good information. So we're gonna jump in here. If you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, just jump in there, click on a like, smash them up, subscribe if you're a new user, and also another thing is that have some laughs with me. I mean, Arthur Hayes is the big whale in this one, of course, and that's, you know, how it is with Arthur. He's pretty much he does his own thing, you know, and that's kind of who he is and what he is. And you know, he makes all the money. Like, let's be real, these guys have $200 million in their reserve just because of trading fees. Just let that sink in for a minute there. Crazy, right? So let's see who's here, and we'll talk. Nice to see you, Manya Sean. Yes, finally I'm sleeping. Not sleeping. Yeah, I got you, brother. So if you guys could do me a favor and share this to anywhere, you know, any of the pages that you guys are linked into, that would be great. To get the most amount of people in here, and so that everyone can benefit from some of the stuff that I'm going to review today. It's going to really help, I think, a lot of people today understand what's actually happening in the market. And so I want you all to actually be aware of what's actually going on right now, because we do have some really interesting stuff happening. And I did say to people, I opened a short on Monday last week, and we jumped up, and everyone probably thought I was kind of weird, and then we obviously dumped again. So I'm not wrong, I just was early, which is okay as well. We have to be okay with being wrong as well sometimes and invalidating our trades. But I felt very strongly and left my short open from Monday, and so far so good, because I really did feel like we're gonna see that. Now, we, you know, was at 8,400, we dropped down, we came back up to 81, 82, and then we came back down. And this is why, and I'll tell you why right now. If you guys have all those questions that you have AMA style right today, ask those questions so that you know the answers that you're looking for. Okay, there's a lot of people that don't answer your questions when you have them. This is your floor today, so do definitely come out and, you know, come out here and say what you're curious about. You know, tell me what you want to know, and I'll happily review it. So let's jump into what's actually happening on the charts so that you can understand what is actually going on with Bitcoin and what do you expect to happen with our cryptocurrencies over the next little while. Now, a couple things I want to point out before we start. So we have this thing called Bitcoin dominance. So I'm going to show you what that looks like, okay? I'm just going to go on a trading view and show you what is Bitcoin dominance and how does it work. So I'm just going to jump in here to my watch list. What is this? Oh, snap. My webpage didn't work. All right, so we're going to jump in and look at Bitcoin dominance, and I'm going to show you something that's quite interesting, that I found very interesting at least. And what is going on here? Got some weird stuff going on my computer. It's Facebook's attacking me again. No. Oh my goodness. I'm all slow and there we go. Okay. Sorry, my computer's been doing some weird stuff here, trying to get it to load properly. Doesn't really want to load that really nicely, so that's kind of annoying. Yeah, let's exit that page. Let's try that again. I think my whole computer's internet just popped off, so that's not very good. Great, wonderful. All right, so let's try that all over again, because my whole computer just didn't want to play nice here. And I'm going to try that again to see if we can get this popping off. There we go. Okay, no, it still doesn't really want to play nice, but we'll get it going. All right, so let me go on my watch list. So BTCD is Bitcoin dominance. So let's look at this here today. On the weekly. So our weekly Bitcoin dominance, as we can see, is actually decreasing. This is something very important to note. that are decreasing of Bitcoin dominance, meaning that Bitcoin's price is going down versus all the other altcoins on the market, right? Why does that matter? Well, it matters for several actual reasons. The first thing is when people say alt season's here, we say, oh, well, maybe it's not, etc., etc. Now, let me just show you another thing really quick before I get started today. Look at all the cap coins, okay? On the bottom of the charts here, we only have like 8 or 9 coins on Binance that are in the minus, and we have a ton of coins that are actually in the plus. I even sold most of my projects because I was in a little bit of profit and I didn't know how this Bitcoin dump was going to affect them. I said to my members though, if we do have a drop and the altcoins don't get as affected as they haven't been for the last couple drops, we are probably going to see a pump in the altcoins, and altcoin season might be starting. And I think that right now, I feel like it's confirmed. We probably are in alt season, and Bitcoin dominance will continue to drop down probably to the cloud, back into that 54%, 53% range. So we'll have this nice long alt season that's going to start again, which I'm excited and hope for is going to be here, because alts will give us a lot of profit into our Bitcoin. So just briefly going over that, I wanted to show you that first. Now, let's look at Bitcoin and see what's actually happened the last couple weeks. So the first thing that I noticed last week before we even started this week is we had this huge doji that was sitting, which showed us a couple things. The first thing that I wanted to point out is we were on an uptrend. Okay, so when we have an evening star reversal, which is basically we have a nice bullish candle followed by a doji, and then we have a very big bullish bearish engulfing candle. Okay, now this is very bearish for Bitcoin, and this is why I think we're going to continue on our way down, and I'll show you in another shorter span time frame what that will look like. So we're on the weekly right now, and the reason why I'm using the weekly is because the higher the time frame you guys trade in, the higher accuracy you have when you're trading. So the problem is when you go to a 15-minute or a 1-hour chart, there's not enough information in there to actually tell you accurately all the time where the price action will go. So if you trade on the 15 minutes without doing really short ins and outs and knowing really well what you're doing, you can have a lot of false calls, false positives, and it can end up leading you to make bad decisions. So if you're a new trader, the most important factor here is that you use 4 hours and above and start with the higher time frame and look for confluence, or things that tell us that yes, these are good, and what I'm seeing is right. When we go to our shorter time frames, it should show the same thing. Okay, so we see here that we've had this evening star reversal, and if you don't know what that is, a bearish evening star starts with a bullish candle. Okay, so a nice fat bullish, it's not an engulfing candle but a bullish candle, followed by a doji, and then a huge bearish engulfing candle, which usually looks and plays out like this. So when I show you that, we're only here, we just started this weekly and it hasn't moved up nor down. We could see it go down, and be the next candle will move down, and we'll probably have 4 or 5 weeks of movement on the downside. Okay, so let's see who's here. Danny, Lewis, Peter, Sean, great to see you guys. Anyone else that's watching, just smash a like and share this video, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Now, continue on. Let's go and look for confluence on a shorter time frame. So we did have the evening star reversal. So let me just delete this from this chart here, and let's look at some other things that I've noticed right here. All right, so on our daily chart, I see something. Now this might not be perfect, and head and shoulders patterns can be played out in several ways, but I did notice that we had a higher left shoulder than a right shoulder. We have this neckline, and the thing is here, our head and shoulders is not perfect for this situation, but it does look like it will play out very nicely into going back either to 2 places. One, it will either go to the Kujin and have a bounce. So we'll go from here down to this line right there, which is nicely on the 50% retrace at $7,050, and we'll come back up. Or we go beyond that and we go all the way down to this, which is the span, and we'll bounce off the cloud, which is another situation which shows us support. Right now, here's a really interesting part. Where it's actually lining up right here is right on the 0618 at 65.58. So it's very, very likely that we get down to that level and it would play out the head and shoulders nicely. And whether it is not a perfect head and shoulders or not, I still expect it to get to that level for a nice retrace. Now, our retrace from the head to our very top to our bottom would be about 30%. Now, this is about exactly what people expected, 30%. Now, it is also very possible that we go and do something like this where we hit that cloud, we move up, and then we break down to our next level right here. It's not exactly there, but right here around that 5,800 level. Now, that's, in my opinion, less likely to happen, but very likely to actually happen as well. So keep that in mind. All right, nice to see you, Jason Lamb. BTC going down, drop of the moon. It's going to drop, man. The alt season is here, guys. So I just kind of showed you that if you missed it. Our alts are actually not dropping, but our BTC is, ETH is, and we're seeing that the alts are pumping right now, which is a very good sign after 3 or 4 drops of alts not being affected, that we are in alt season and the money is going from Bitcoin into their favorite alts, and we'll start seeing some of the major alts like we've seen with Litecoin start to move. And XRP does its thing. Like I've said, always, we're going to have a pump to like 50 cents, I said, and we'll very likely see it drop back down and stay stagnant for a while until October. I've been saying that for months, but now if you haven't been watching before, this is something that you should expect. Okay, so that's what I'm expecting for BTC. Okay, and this is something that I've been noticing. Now I want to show you ETH next. All right, on the weekly we also see something that looks like an evening star, but not really. Okay, but here's some things that I've noticed and I want you guys to check out. So on the weekly we see that the buyers were starting to run out of steam. They're trying to push it up. Right, but they just don't have these really fat candles. Like, they weren't closing very high. They definitely tried to push it up, and this one barely closed, and this one closed just above. You can see that the steam from the buyers that was pushing it up and pushing it up and pushing it for the weeks before was starting to die out. You can see that by these long candlesticks where they're dropping down, they're trying to push it back up, you know, and it's not really pushing up very hard. That tells us that the steam from the buyers is starting to run out. Then we have the weekly close, another doji just like Bitcoin, and I thought, you know what, this is also a short. And guess what happened? We had this bearish engulfing candle, which led us to drop, and it doesn't look like a lot when you look at the weekly chart, but that was a good 14% on ETH that would have been saved if you had got on that doji at the end of last week. Same with Bitcoin, it dropped 10% or so. So knowing this is stuff that we educate ourselves on, we learn, and we don't make the same mistakes next time, because if we look at short time spans, this is what happens. We don't see these things very clearly. Right? Another thing that we look at is our volume. So as these were rising, our volume was starting to fall, right? So when you see the volume starting to decrease over the weekly span, while the price is still slowly increasing, it's showing another example of the buyers running out of steam. There's less pressure pushing it up. There's less force from the volume getting pushed in. More people are selling than are buying, and this also tells us the buyers are running out of steam. So now we go and look at where are we gonna see ETH move to. Okay, so ETH is going to likely move in this direction. We're probably going to see another, like I showed you on Bitcoin, a Kujin bounce. So we either get to 217 and we bounce off this level, right, at the 50% retrace. See how it's nice that Kujin always follows the 50%? If you didn't notice that yet, you will. And also, we could very likely see us pop back up to here through the shorter term, back up to 234, which we're kind of at that level right now. Which could trick us, and then we could fall down to either right here as support at 211, or very likely could go all the way down to the 618 and then have a bounce. So if it does get all the way down to the bottom of the span here, that would be a major turbo long, as one of my friends Zorhan says. It would be a turbo long. I would definitely put a huge amount of capital into that, but I do expect it to at least get to the 618s, and if we don't see this nice bounce from here. So that's what's probably going to happen with ETH. Obviously, we look at ETH's volume as well, because it's a really good analytical tool. So we see on the volume here, it was rising, and if we look here, our volume was also rising. But then on the other side, look what we had here. So let me just move this down. we saw the volume started to decrease, right, on the daily, yet our price didn't really decrease for a while. So we had it up here, you know, our volume on this spin was like this, right? And it didn't really do that with the price action. So this is something that could have told you there was a little bit of a divergence, especially from here to here. We saw there was a divergence in the pricing. So we're starting up here, right? So we could even start here and say that, all right, the price did increase. So if we start in this candle right here, we still see a decreasing happening. So there might have been a little bit of a divergence as well. So you look for all those things when you're trading and see like, okay, volume is king. I'm reading the candles. They look kind of weak. There's nothing really strong. There's a bullish engulfing here, and then this really big bearish engulfing candle on this after a couple dojis. So we were losing steam, right? And this is something we have to notice and we can see is happening with our own eyes. Okay, so I want to show you why alt season is here. This is calls from the last, I don't know, the last since June 1st. So about 10 days of calls, right? So as you can see, we're not out of alt season just because of the fact that the calls that we've made in the last 10 days, almost all of them except for a couple bad calls, which will happen when you're trading, can't be right all the time, are in profit still after the Bitcoin dump, which tells us that we're very likely seeing money going into the alts. As you see with Athena, which is our trading system that we use, that we created, we have seen very nice gains in the alts, right? Yes, we've had 1 or 2 stops out, 3 stops out, but we've had many others go up 20%, 30%, 15%. So we're having nice gains on a lot of our calls, especially ones that we expect to go. And like some of these are still in play, like OAX. I believe it's going to go up another 50% in the shorter term because OAX does like to pop up really big and it's at a very near its bottom, right? So these are things also to keep an eye on in the shorter term. Okay, so another thing that we want to look at here is where is our profit percentages. So on Athena right now, we definitely had some very profitable days, more so than our losses, as we can see here. And this is what we're looking for now. We're looking to see alt season come and let's stack our BTC. So if you guys have not ever seen the Athena platform, go to athenaproject.trade. They're in this video link on YouTube, so go on YouTube. The link's in this description here and stuff. Go on YouTube, click on it. You get a 25% discount. Try it out for a month. We have traders in there. We have everyone talking about charts. You can learn. I have free books that I put in there, and it's really to get you guys educated more than actually just trading. So if you want to actually learn what we're doing here and actually see some nice gains in trading, definitely join us. You can even join for free. I'll throw that in here at t.me, Athena Project. There we go. You guys can jump in on that one. All right, next up, let's talk about some of the major events going on, but let's have a little laugh first. What do you guys think this is?
Bitches in the future?
Wait, what did he say?
Bitches in the future?
He just said bitches in the future. There's already an H there, man. Come on now. What is the future?
Good night, everyone.
What is the future? You tell me.
This is Wheel of Fortune, y'all.
Bitcoin is the future.
Yeah, that's it.
You're damn right it is. Bitcoin is the future. Now, let's look at some interesting stuff. One mainly being our global coin with Facebook. Now, people do not sleep on Libra, okay? Facebook's coin is going to A, bring mass adoption, B, it is potentially going to hurt XRP, but I don't think Pepsi and Coke have any issues here. We have Pepsi, we have Coke, we need multiple currencies, but what Facebook is doing that you don't know about yet is how they're actually going to be doing it. So listen up to this. This is really interesting. Facebook is not going to just use the US dollar to peg. They're going to use several currencies that are fiat to peg. Plus, they're going to use unvolatile or non-volatile assets. Things like real estate, things like bonds. They're going to use very low volatile assets to back the global coin, which will be used around the world. So that's why they're going to use multiple currencies like, you know, dollars, Canadian dollars, Singapore dollars, yen, won, etc. So they use several of those currencies plus owning assets, right? Why is that important? Well, it's definitely going to make it quite stable, but not only linked to fiat, which is really important. But what Max Kaiser's saying is that it could potentially hurt XRP. I don't exactly agree that it will kill XRP, but it will possibly create a lot of competition for sure. Now, Facebook Coin is going to do some really interesting stuff. And mainly the one thing that I find it's really interesting for is that they're going to have nodes, okay? And their nodes are going to cost $10 million to actually run. 10 million. So no average person will ever own a Facebook node. Usually it will probably be large corporations that will have these nodes set up that will confirm transactions for the global coin. Global coin will definitely be a push for adoption that is really, really important. And we can definitely see some huge probability of Facebook coin taking over a large part of the shit coin market. You can't hear me? No sound? You should be able to hear me. Try again. You can't hear me? Oh, that's unfortunate. Hello, can everyone hear me? Can everyone hear me? All right, let me know if you can't hear me or you can. It should be fine. I can see it working on my end, but maybe not. Anyways, let's continue on. Hopefully that you can hear me. We have waves of SIM swapping happening. Oh, okay, cool. We have waves of SIM swapping happening in the United States. So this is a warning signal for you guys. I mean, it's from June 3rd, but it's still very important. US card holders that have SIM cards, you should probably stay far away from using your SMS to verify your anything, whether it be Coinbase, etc. SIM swapping is happening a lot. If you use Telegram, you need to choose that no one can, and there's been several different posts that I posted out as well in my group on the free channel about how to actually do this. It's really easy. You just go on your Telegram settings and you go to privacy and you turn it off. Then they cannot do it. Okay, so that's really important. Nice to see you, Martins. So SIM swapping is happening in the US. You have to be very careful. If you get SIM swapped or your phone number gets ported through T-Mobile, you will lose all your cryptocurrencies. People will steal them and they will be gone forever. If you use a 2FA everything and don't use a single account, 3 SIM swaps attacks in my feed these past 3 days, all from the US. What the F is going on? So we see that this actually is happening across a lot of different people. Fuck, I'm getting SIM swapped. What's immediate course action to suspect they've been SIM swapped? Just tons of issues, right? And so if you are being SIM swapped, this is a great post that you can find on Medium about how you can avoid a $100,000 loss, or even a $10,000 or a $5,000 or a $1,000 loss. Really important stuff, guys. Ryan, what's up? You can hear me no problem? That's great. Awesome. So Bittrex is wrecking people, including themselves. 32 of their crypto assets will be delisted from the US, including Quantum, Storage, Enigma, Mainframe, and Factum. They're going to be walled off. This is a bad problem. You know, it's not good for the companies. It's not good for Bittrex. I mean, Bittrex, whatever you want to call it. But we also have Bitstack, which is coming, and I'm going to talk about in a short minute here about what's going on with Bitstack. So moving on, we have something really interesting. Bitcoin's popularity has just started on Google Trends to beat Trump, Tesla, and Kim Kardashian on Twitter. And on Google searches. So as we can see, Bitcoin is starting to get quite popular again, regardless of the price. And I mean, this is a little bit old from April 21st. So we started seeing when Bitcoin started to pump. I'm sure right now we might see that is starting to change, but Bitcoin is starting to increase in popularity, as we can see from some of these graphs here. Why that's important, it definitely has a lot to play in here. And then another really important factor is a lot of people recently were saying, well, all these ICOs hold all this ETH and they're gonna dump it, etc., etc., etc. Want to just bring you guys back to reality here. I made a post, I think it was like, you know, during our really big dumping season. I think it was like November or before that, maybe October. I said that most ETH projects already got rid of all their ETH, almost all of them. People are saying, like, no, you're wrong. But actually, as you can see by the stats, I was not actually wrong. Like, most of these projects have gotten rid of most of their ETH. And in May, we saw ETH withdrawals go to almost an all-time low. They're just between 2.75 and 2.85 million ETH left. So ICOs don't really have a lot of power anymore. I mean, there's a ton more ETH out there than they have. And even if they dumped all of it, it wouldn't dump the price that hard. And some of these guys that are holding ETH have bought ETH at $80 or $90. Or were given ETH at $80, $90 and held on. So there's some projects that don't really need to actually give it out. Examples are DigiDAO, Golem, Polkadot, Aragon. So some of these have huge amounts of ETH reserves left. They don't really need to sell them off unless they need the money. So that's something also to keep in mind. Singularity TV, AGI, took out 13,825 ETH in May, probably to, you know, get their stuff going. So nothing wrong with that, but it's something to keep in mind that it's the ETH. If all the ICOs dump some ETH, it won't crash the price as much as people think. Now, just going on to looking at Crypto Differ's projects that are coming out, I just want to highlight a couple. So Certic's coming out, has a really good rating, but there's one that it's kind of like a diamond in the rough, like no one really knows about it too much or haven't been paying attention because it's a project out of Africa called Ferrum Network that's linked to Kudo Exchange. This is a really interesting one, and Ian Bellina, Midgard Research, there's quite a few others actually that have been looking into it. Where else do we have it? There's been a couple others. Ferrum Network, where are you? Hold on a second, I'll find it. But there's been quite a few that have actually rated this quite highly, as well as Sergio and DB Crypto. So a lot of these guys like this project, and it's because Platinum News as well. A lot of these guys are into this project because it is going to disrupt how Africa does things. And if you don't know, you can watch on CNN or CNBC. BBC. They just did an interview with Kudo Exchange and they're definitely going to be doing some stuff to disrupt in Africa. And as you guys know, in places like Nigeria, where they don't really have value in their fiat, a lot of people use Bitcoin. So it's something to actually take in consideration that in some countries in the world, cash is kind of not really useful for them, and they're using Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to transact. Another one that's really interesting that I'm a part of, so you know, I guess shill alert, is I'm working with a project called Blabber. So Blabber is a social media app. It's got a marketplace so people can use it, and it's instead of them just doing it all crypto, they've actually integrated payment systems like MasterCard and Visa, so people can actually run their own business on there, and they give back via staking a lot of their profits back to the community for staking tokens. You get paid for like typing and commenting and posting, and people like it, etc. And you lock up your tokens in there, and obviously over time it's just like a staking mechanism, but it's got a lot of really cool features. If you don't know where it is or what it is, go to blabber.mc on the internet, and you can join the Telegram group at Blabber Official. It's a really cool project, got a good team, got a good amount of people behind it. OA Maddie and MM Crypto have reviewed it and said great things, so just check it out. Something that I want you guys to look at. And another one that's been really highly rated and just sold out in 1 second is Bitstack Exchange. So let's go see who's done a review of Bitstack here. We've seen that, I think Hey Maddie also did Bitstack, and there's a couple others. So he did Bitstack, but I think it's gone because it's already done. But he had an 82% score for Bitstack, and I think they took it off because it's already passed and it's happened already. But yeah, here's a really interesting factor. They sold out this in 1 second, so they have 3 phases. It's an exchange that basically I think they're going to be replacing Bittrex with, because it's international and they won't have the limitations like they do in the United States for this. So something pretty interesting to keep your eyes on. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, guys, throw them out here. Let me know what you think. And if you don't, just get to athenaproject.trade. and join us, guys, because it's a pretty cool project that we have going on right here. We're making great calls, as I'm showing you in this episode. It's really easy to sign up. All you got to do is go on, check it out. We have obviously all videos to walk you through our Telegram bot. We also have a whole system online like you just saw, and it's with a 25% discount right now, so you get like signals and education and support and live trading group and all that stuff all together. So you get your 25% off and sign up here, and it's really easy to do. You just click accept, and you know, it does it with just adding a Telegram. So let's just make one up here, and I'm just gonna do this as an example. So step 2, this is how much it is, and look how easy this is. You can pay with crypto right through Coinbase Commerce. So we made it really simple, because before it was a little bit confusing for people. So you can pay with USDC coin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and then you can just click on that and it will give you a QR code, and you can just take your phone out and you can scan it, and that's pretty much all you have to do. So you just scan the code and boom, boom, you're done. So just want to show you that if you've been looking into our system and wanted to be a part of it. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. I don't see any questions, so you guys have a great Monday. That's the start of the week. I will be making a video on Friday this week, as long as I don't get sick with a huge cold and I can't go to work anymore. And I'll see all of you later. Have a great day from Bangkok to wherever you guys are. See you later. It's Coach K signing out.